Oh, it's a big celebration show for about 2/3 of it. Jayson Tatum, big celebration. He's now the leading candidate for MVP. Marcus Smart, big celebration. I love taking my victory laps about Marcus Smart. But the Celtics defense is terrible, except for the fourth quarter. Why, guys? Why? Do more of it throughout the whole game. We're going to talk about it right now on the Locked On Celtics podcast.
Be ever ready. Recognize the city of champs. Boston, baby, we do what you can't. Locked on number 18, Tatum and Brown, J-team, step back. We gon' wet that and slay teams. Of course, the Celtics, who else could it be? Screaming like KG with the Larry O.B. Karalis above average, assessing the team status. Best daily pod, no cap, salary matching. Clutch like Bird the DJ, keep John on replay. Prime time, dapping up the truth on the sideline. Raining J's, how it started, raising banners, how we finished. Locked on Celtics pod, home of the winners. B.
Hey, welcome back to the Locked On Celtics podcast here on the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every day, and I'm here for you every day with a free, fresh podcast that drops directly to your device when you are subscribed. So make sure you are subscribed. You can even watch the show on YouTube, and I do thank you for making the show your first listen every day. I'm John Karalis. I cover the Celtics for Boston Sports Journal. I was a professional basketball player. I also wrote a book called The Boston Celtics All-Time All-Stars. Today's show brought to you by my good friends at Craic Sauce. It is hot sauce, big, bold flavors. Check it out, CRAIC sauce.com. If you want to try some without buying it, go to the Black Rose for dinner before a Celtics game if you're in town. Black Rose in Faneuil Hall carries it. You'll try it. You'll love it. You'll buy it. Promo code is locked on for 10% off. Lots coming up today. Hey, Jayson Tatum is the new favorite, according to BetOnline, for MVP. Later on, what to do with Peyton Pritchard? It's a constant question, and Peyton Pritchard's such a big part of that win over the OKC Thunder. The fourth quarter defense, I just want to talk a little bit more about the top 6 defense in the league in the fourth quarter, and we'll talk a little bit about Marcus Smart here. And I say we because it's me and Tom _NBA. Tommy, what's up?
Not much, man. I'm doing well.
I like that little delayed reaction. You're just like,
Yeah, you know,
just happy.
I'm living. We got all our wild takes out before the show started, so I'm.
Oh yeah.
I might be done. I might be done podcasting. So let me know if you need me.
I mean, we could be done. I mean, they
All
want
right.
shorter podcasts, so we'll just tell everybody like, thanks for
That's
watching
right.
and thanks for listening, and subscribe and just
Buy
pretend
buy
that
some
we said
Craic
everything you
Sauce.
wanted to hear.
Yeah,
Some Craic Sauce. Just don't even wait for us to say anything. You know what my voice sounds like. You know what Tom's voice sounds like. Just imagine we said all of the things that you were thinking and that we agree with you.
We
That's
agree with
what you want a podcast, right?
Yeah.
We agree with you. Good point made by you. We agree. Especially if you think Jayson Tatum has a real good shot at being the MVP. Maybe should be the MVP. Okay. Jayson Tatum. New odds are out from our friends at BetOnline. List Tatum at 3-1 odds, and Giannis behind him at 13-4, which is basically 3.5-1, I guess. I can see your head bobbing and you wanting to say something.
It's not going to be Giannis. It's going to be Tatum or Luka. It's just like everybody loves the narrative. Giannis isn't the fun narrative. It's just not going to be Giannis this year. I don't think it's going to be him, and it has nothing to do with whether he's the best player or not. Like, I just think it's going to be Luka or Tatum this year.
They want a fresh face.
Yeah, everybody does all
face.
the time. People want the news story. Like, that's what happens when you have a bunch of journalists voting on this. Is that like we follow the story?
I will say, and I'm glad that I don't have a vote.
Yeah, me neither.
I don't want to be part of the cabal that decides, hey, does Jaylen Brown get 30% of the cap or 35% of the cap? I don't want to be the guy whose vote is the difference between Jaylen Brown making all this extra money. And I know that Jaylen will be fine with 30%, and that extra 5% doesn't really matter, but it's still somebody's money, and it's a lot of money, and I don't want to mess with anybody's money. If he deserves 35% of the cap, then just give it to him. So I don't want to be the guy who votes that like down. Like Tatum. Tatum got screwed on that. I'm sorry. So
also, not for nothing, I could so easily be bought. Like if you were Like, you know what I mean? Like, oh my gosh. Like, I'm glad I don't have a vote because like I would just be like, I would have a for sale sign. Like I'd be wearing a sandwich board walking into TD Garden.
Here's some Craic Sauce, Tom. Here's an MVP vote for Jayson Tatum. What do you think?
No,
Sold.
I would want Tatum to spend some of that extra money that I'm getting for him
That's right.
by doing
That's
this. Yeah.
right. Well, you're nothing but a person of integrity.
It's,
But I think
more and more people are saying it.
the reason why Tatum is at the top of the odds, first of all, I think is two things. If you look at the guys who are in the conversation, at least at the coming into the season, Tatum was sort of part of it. Embiid, Giannis, Luka, those were the guys who were at the top of the list. I think maybe Kevin Durant was in there. Well, the Nets suck. They are getting their asses kicked right now. So the Nets suck. So he's going to be out. Giannis is sitting games. So you can say, well, Giannis, if you want reasons to disqualify Giannis, then you say, oh, well, look, he's doing great, but Tatum's doing so much more with them. He's getting so many more minutes. He's playing more, and he's piling up these numbers still. He's not being worn down or whatever. You say, okay, there's an argument there. Luka's obviously awesome, but he also has had a couple of games where he's been off. He's had a couple of bad games in there, and Tatum's bad games. You know what Tatum's bad games are? 27 points on 40% shooting against OKC. He has a 23-point game in there where that's a bad game for him. He hasn't had anything lower than that. So, yeah, that's why Tatum's at the top of the list.
Yeah. No, I mean, like so far, like, 14 games into the season, I think Tatum deserves to be where he's at. The one thing with Luka that I think is hilarious. I was looking this up the other day for a different column. His assist percentage. So what percentage of his teammates made shots did the player assist on is 44.1%. So not only is he averaging more than 30 points a game, he's also assisting on nearly 50% of his team's shots. So like, and Tatum is in the 90th percentile for forwards. Like he's doing really well, but like Luka is everything for that team.
Yeah.
So like, and I think if you wanted to make the case for Luka over Tatum, you could say, look, like Tatum, his team is having all this success. They're 11-3. But like, have you seen the rest of that team? The rest of that team is Jaylen Brown and Marcus Smart and Al Horford and Grant Williams coming off, and you can just kind of keep going down the line. Like a lot of good players on the Boston Celtics. And Tatum is the best of them. And Tatum is a deserving MVP candidate. But if you wanted to make the Luka case, I think that's where you start with that one. But regardless, I mean, Tatum deserves to be where he's at. Like if the season ended now, 14 games in, like I think Jayson Tatum would be probably the odds-on favorite to win, and not just because of the betting markets, but also because of like all the stuff he's done so far. He's been brilliant.
Yeah, I mean, standings are going to factor so much into this, and the Mavericks are 8-5. They're playing as we speak. Actually, they just won. They just beat the Clippers, so they are. So they're 8-5. Actually,
probably 9-5 now.
9-5 at this point. So, but the Celtics are 11-3, best team in the league. So if that carries on, and 14 games is certainly, the fact that we're even talking about it is definitely premature. But people love to talk about it at this. It's an indication of a lot of things. The fact that Tatum is in the lead for MVP as far as the betting markets go, obviously people are putting their money on him, right? That's how lines move. People put money on him. Why are people putting money on him? Because he's playing great and because they're seeing him win. And the Celtics have 11 wins and no one else has 11 wins yet. And all of these factors, there's a reason why wins matter. There's a reason why standings matters, because here's a guy that's the best player on the best team. And he's got all these great teammates, but also he's raising everybody's game as well.
Yeah.
And that's, I don't know, that I don't like the argument, and I certainly am not criticizing the argument because I understand the validity of it as well, that he's got not great teammates. and they're going to win 9 games here. So he's much more impressive than Tatum, who has a potentially all NBA teammate in Jaylen Brown and the reigning defensive player of the year and a bunch of guys who are shooting 40 to 50% from three. Like I understand that. But I think more than anything, this is just an indication of how good the Celtics are, how good they've been, and just obviously how well Tatum's been playing.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, because yes, the Celtics are all those things, and he's the linchpin of it. He is elevating everyone else. The reason those guys are shooting 40, 50% from three, a big part of that is because Tatum is just, like collapsing the entire defense around him like a black hole and like then dishing it out. And, those shots are wide open. And it's because Jayson Tatum is so good that they're like this. And, you brought up, obviously 14 games is way too early to be making to be having these conversations at all, right? But I do find it very interesting. Celtics fans really want to have these conversations right now, and it's kind of hard to blame them because when you think back, the Celtics have been so good for such a long time, but it's been so long since they've had this type of player, right? Like you literally go back to like Larry Bird, but since the last time they had, even when they had Kevin Garnett and he was like in the running for MVP and all that, KG was 31. They had just gotten him. It was like a very different dynamic to have this guy where you've watched him and there was the chance that he was going to be something really special. And now he is exactly as special as you like thought and, hopes that he was going to be. It's like, I know Dan Shaughnessy over at the Globe wrote a column about like, hey, it's just too early to be having these conversations. And like, people are talking about this too early. And I hear what he's saying, but I also just think like, let's cut some people some slack here. It has been a long time since Celtics fans have seen something like this on their team, true. A guy like this on their team. It's pretty special. Like in Celtics fans, like enjoy this. This does not happen. Jayson Tatum is rare. This does not happen often.
It's true. That's a fair point. That this discussion at this point is definitely for the fans, and I'm not going to tell people to stop. I think for people like to actually have a debate. Okay, who's the MVP right now? No, but if you want to crow a little bit about like we got Jayson Tatum and you don't, like yeah, sure, go for it. He's a homegrown guy. He's taken a path that most MVPs don't take. Usually they're pretty much in consideration right away. He's built up to this. He's grown into this. And the thought is that he's going to be around for a long time. So yeah, crow about it. Have some fun with it.
Mm-hmm.
Marcus Smart. He has just started to gain the level of respect, I think, from people. I'm finally seeing people going, oh yeah. All right, fine. I'll give it to you. I'm like, oh, whew. So let's appreciate Marcus Smart. We'll do that in just a moment. First, today's show is brought to you by Turo. Turo is basically the world's largest car-sharing marketplace. With Turo, you can book any car you want, wherever you want it, from a community of local hosts. Browse a huge selection of vehicles for just about any occasion or any budget. It's available across the United States, the UK, Canada, and coming soon to Australia. You can book a spacious SUV or minivan for a family road trip. You can get a classic or luxury car for a special event, birthday, or holiday, or find affordable economy cars if you're in a budget and just get from point A to point B. Test drive that new electric vehicle you've had your eye on to see how it fits your everyday life. Many Turo hosts can even deliver the car right to you. Every trip is backed by liability insurance. Terms, conditions, and exclusions apply. Forget boring rental cars. Find your drive at Turo, T-U-R-O, Turo.com. Today's show is also brought to you by Built Bar. Let's take a second here to talk about the greatest, most flavorful protein bar in the market. How about Cookie Dough Topper? How about Coconut Brownie Bar? How about Coconut Brownie Topper? Let's just throw all these delicious things together and make them a protein bar, because that's what Built Bar is doing. Whether it's white peppermint granola, Built's take on granola bars that are more filling and still insanely tasty. How about candy cane brownie puff? Built Puffs are like biting into the universe's most delicious cloud. So if you are into a protein bar that tastes like a candy bar, Built has been revolutionizing nutrition as we know it with 100% real chocolate, 17 grams of protein, shockingly low sugar and calories, and 130 calories for most of these things. So get over to Built.com. You can order right now by using the code LOCKEDON15. LOCKEDON15, and it works every single time. So go, order one, order two, go back again. Great flavors at Built. You got to try this. 15% off with the promo code LOCKEDON15 at Built.com. Thanks for making Locked On Celtics your first listen every day. When you're done with this show, check out Locked On Sports Today. The games that matter, the biggest stories in sports, the Locked On local hosts, the local experts with insight you can't get anywhere else. Locked On Sports Today, 22 minutes covering all of the sports world. You need this podcast so you can sound smart at the water cooler. It's available wherever you get your podcasts. And on YouTube. Marcus Smart. I just want to say Marcus Smart and say he's awesome. And I think people are finally coming around because he's cooled it a bit on the heat checks for no reason. King of the heat check without having hit a shot. And I understand, I acknowledge that was always kind of an issue, but I do think that so many people have been blinded by that now that he has stopped doing that, people are like, oh, okay, now he's awesome. Now we love him. And okay, he hasn't really had this kind of stretch of assists, but I really feel like that he's not a much different player than he is now. People are arguing that he's such a different player now. Like, no, he's just not taking as many of those crazy shots. And I think that people have been so blinded by that now that he's stopped and they go, oh, whew, yes, we love him now. Like, I don't know. I just love the fact that that's happening. It's great because I just have a real healthy respect for Marcus Smart. But also it's like, yeah, this is kind of who he's always been in a lot of ways. I don't know. Do you agree? Do you think he's changed his game at all?
I mean, I think the degree to which he has cut back his shots, it's been notable. I wouldn't say that it's like, I wouldn't say it's like particularly extreme. And honestly, I don't know that it's permanent, right? Like, last night's game, I guess probably 2 nights ago when people are listening to this, he took plenty of shots. He made a lot of them. So nobody's complaining about it, but we'll see. We'll see if he continues to shoot this little, but like, the thing is, man, like he's always been a good passer. He's always been a good distributor. He's always been good at getting around the rim and, either posting up or, scoring. Like he's always been good at those types of things. And he's always been a lead at defense. So realistically, yeah, I think he cut down his bad shots a little bit, but he hasn't fundamentally changed who he is. He has just kind of like he's done what so many players do as they get better and better in the league. And that's just like improved, like it's just, he's just doing things better now. And I like this last stretch of basketball has been really some of the best Marcus Smart basketball we've ever seen. I think as people who've been watching him since he was a rookie, like he's been so good. And so, just such an engine of the offense. And that's what they need him to do. And, he's always kind of had that in him. It's funny to think about people saying, he's playing so different now. Not really. He's just kind of got more usage now, like, and a more kind of defined role. He's been pining to be the Celtics like primary ball handler and distributor since he got here. And the Celtics kept bringing in other scoring guards who were going to handle the ball more than him, which set him up to be a guy who tried to make corner threes or tried to shoot or whatever it might be. So, yeah, I mean, it's just the Celtics have made him a point guard again, and that seems to really make a lot of sense for him.
Yeah, I mean, you can go back if you search on my Twitter, Marcus Smart can pass. You'll get tweets from like 2016, 2017. I've been on the Marcus Smart can pass train for a long, long time, and I think you're right. I think there are a couple of things at play here. Even last year when he finally got the, hey, you're the point guard now. And then they bring in Dennis Schroeder. And it was like, all right, I guess I'm not really the point guard because he's handling the ball the whole time. So now you've got Smart off the ball again. And if you put a guy in a position to just catch the ball and shoot as much as you do when you get off the ball, then yeah, he's going to catch the ball and shoot. And this year, even with Malcolm Brogdon coming in, it was clear from the beginning they are making Smart the starting point guard. Anybody that plays next to him is off the ball, and Brogdon is coming off the bench. And that changes a lot of things. And with this offense, I do want to give, I think, Joe Mazzulla some credit. I think Joe Mazzulla deserves some credit for how he's running this offense, using guys creatingly and just creating an atmosphere where people feel like, hey, if I give the ball up, I'm going to get it back. If I move the ball, it's okay. The ball movement is a good thing. Me giving the ball up doesn't mean, oh, well, there it goes. And encouraging everybody to do it. And Smart with the increased pace, Smart pushing the ball and kick aheads are real effective as well. I just feel like he's got so many weapons. He's in an offense where it's encouraged and they're cutting. It feels like they're cutting a lot. And it just sets him up for success. And this is even without Rob, who Rob is Smart to Rob alley-oops. Just come out of nowhere sometimes. He throws them perfectly. So there are plenty more opportunities coming for him to keep passing. I've always thought when it comes to Smart, he shoots when he feels like, hey, I have to shoot. And I think one of the misnomers, one of the mistakes I think that people make is, oh, he thinks he's Steph Curry. He thinks he's Steph. Like, no, I don't think he ever thought he's Steph. I think he's like, well, they need somebody to shoot. And I'm confident in my shot, but they need somebody to shoot. Somebody's out or I'm the shooting guard, so I'm going to shoot. And now that he's the actual point guard, he's like, my job is to pass. Point guards pass. And that's what he's doing. He's doing his job. And I think obviously he bears some responsibility for taking quick shots. What he did in the overtime against Cleveland, that was, obviously a bad, we all think back to that. I'm not saying that Marcus Smart is perfect. I'm not saying that Smart is a prototype of it, but he's in this role on this team. This is exactly what I always thought he could be. And I'm finally glad that he's showing it and that people can appreciate like, oh, okay, this is what I've always seen in Smart. This is why I've always believed in Smart.
Exactly. Like, I think, it's been a progression, right? Like it's taken time. And again, I think that's all supernatural. Like not super, you know what I mean? I think that's all very natural, not supernatural. I think it's very natural for a guy to
no, Tom.
Marcus Smart is a ghost.
Marcus Smart is a ghost.
Yeah. You caught me. But no, I mean, I think that takes some time, and I think, it's been really fun to watch. I think you're exactly right that there's kind of been this misnomer that he thinks that he's something he's not. That's such a good way of putting it, because he just kind of has this sense, like, I think sometimes too, he sees the way that other guys are playing and he doesn't like the way they're playing. He's like, well, I don't think these guys got it right now. I'm going to take this shot. And sometimes I think he's wrong, but it's not coming, like you said, it's not coming from a place where he thinks that he's this 50% 3-point shooter who can shoot from half court. He just kind of thinks that everybody else sucks right now and he's going to take this three. It's like, like, I mean, he's not always wrong, but I think the thing about Smart is that he is a brilliant basketball player. And I don't kind of use that lightly here. He is, especially the way he plays defense is that almost is supernatural. Like that's something where it doesn't, the things that he sees and how quickly he reacts to them. The other night on NBC Sports Boston, underneath the rim, you could hear him directing traffic, and he was predicting exactly what the other team was going to need to do and exactly what the Celtics needed to do to blow it up. He sent, it was only for a second, so it was a split second of Marcus Smart magic, but he sent Jaylen Brown out to the 3-point line. He was like, JB, follow him to the 3-point line. JB did. The ball comes to that guy, and Jaylen's there to contest. Like, Smart knows exactly what's happening at all times. Like,
yes.
I mean, to watch his offense kind of catch up, it's never going to catch up to his defense, because if his offense caught up to his defense, he'd be, one of the better players in the NBA. But the fact that he is such a useful player on that end too now. I mean, he's just a really good basketball player now. It's not he would there's no qualifier necessary for him where it's like, oh, he's a really good defender. He's really good. And the Celtics are really lucky to have a player like that.
Absolutely. And speaking of the defense, the fourth quarter defense is amazing. The fourth quarter defense is one of the best defenses in the league. And so, Tom, the question is, why can't they do that for all 4 quarters? We'll get into that when we come back. First, BetOnline, which just again released Jayson Tatum as the current betting favorites to be the MVP at 3-1, just ahead of Giannis and Luka. I think Devin Booker's up there too. He deserves a little bit. But BetOnline is your number one source for all your betting needs and stats and analysis and everything. Get the latest odds and trends for every professional and amateur league out there, from football to basketball, obviously, soccer, esports. It's all there at betonline.net. If you love podcasts, I think you do since you're here, then you'll find those at BetOnline as well. We're always the fastest and easiest way to get your betting fix over at BetOnline. Head to the website today. Use your mobile device to learn more. BetOnline is where the game starts. Please gamble responsibly. And then today's show is also brought to you by Craic Sauce. My friends at Craic Sauce, if you're watching on YouTube, CRAIC. And I've got, I spun it around. Here's the golden pumpkin. Here's the green chili. Here's Brian's Boru's curry. And here's the Mill City Red. Mill City Red because they're up in Lowell. They're made in Lowell. It's a Massachusetts-made product. It's made by a Celtics season ticket holder. Craic Sauce is big flavors, bold flavors. It's hot sauce just built different. You can use these as an ingredient in your cooking. Not just pour on top of something that you want to eat, which you can also do, but you can use it as an ingredient, and it's locally made, locally sourced, local employees. You want to shout out to a Celtics fan and helping people make livings in Massachusetts. So if you like this, or if you know somebody who likes this gift pack right here makes a great gift. Christmas is coming up. The holidays are coming up. Gift giving season is coming up. This packet makes a great gift. And if you use the promo code Locked On, you're going to get 10% off at craicsauce.com. You can also try this at the Black Rose at Faneuil Hall before a game. If you want to go get dinner before a game, try it there. But 10% off at craicsauce.com, CRAIC sauce.com with the promo code Locked On. Get some. You're going to love it. Tom, the Celtics defense is currently ranked 20th in the NBA, bottom third, with a defensive rating of 112.5. So they're giving up 112.5 points per 100 possessions.
But wait, what is it in the fourth quarter?
Oh, I'm glad you asked, Tom Westerholm. 104.7.
What?
That is a lot less. And that's good for 6th in the NBA. Tom, if a team could shut other teams down in the fourth quarter with the 6th best defense in the league, where the hell is this defense in quarters 1, 2, and 3?
Resting. Scoring buckets.
Is it possible that part of the problem is there's only so much energy to go around in a game, and guys feel like, well, we're doing a lot of this work on offense. I feel good about outscoring other teams, so I'm not going to give it 100% in quarters 1, 2, and 3. Let's just wait for Rob to get back, and we'll still make the same mistakes, but he'll erase those mistakes, and we'll be fine.
It's you and I have talked about it. It's certainly possible. I don't think that's out of the question at all. That's a risky game to play.
Hell yeah, it is.
Because I mean, look no further than that Thunder game where the Celtics were missing their threes. They were generating all these great looks, missed all these threes, and not for nothing, they were still scoring in that game. Like, they were still finding offense, but they weren't making threes, and they weren't really playing defense until late in the third quarter.
Yeah.
And and they were losing, and they were, they went down by double digits to a fine Thunder team, a team that has a genuine superstar, but like a bunch of other stuff. So yeah, I mean, I think it's so risky to play that game. We've talked about it before. Like if you're that reliant, if you go cold in the playoffs and you're relying on not going cold, you lose a game that matters. You lose, you go cold for 2 games in a series. I mean, you have to be perfect the rest of the way. Like it's not a this is why defense matters so much. This is why it mattered so much that the Celtics were number 1 in like every defensive category last year. And it's not something that just having Rob back is going to fix. And even if it was something that just having Rob back was going to fix, you still don't want to you don't want to just rely on that. Like Rob is a little fragile, and hopefully this, this injection and this rest and everything else keeps him healthy, but like it might not. And if all of your eggs are in the Rob basket and then he's not healthy, that's tough. So yeah, Celtics have some stuff to figure out still.
Yeah.
And they're capable of doing it. To your point, they are capable of doing it because they're doing it in the fourth quarter.
That's the thing. And I don't want there's also, hey, you get a little bit of an adrenaline boost because it becomes like, oh crap, where like it's a close game and okay, we got to ramp it up a little bit. But they do have it within it's in them to play good defense. There definitely feels like we're choosing to play good offense and we're choosing to kind of relax on the defensive end. It just feels that way a little bit because they are getting blown by and they are giving up offensive rebounds and they are falling asleep and giving up backdoor cuts.
Yes.
All things that are correctable and effort-based. It's not hard to turn and look when a guy's coming and see like, oh yeah, he is crashing. Let me just put a body on him. They don't do that enough. They even will turn and look at a guy and just kind of, even if he is starting to look like he's going to crash, they just kind of like, they don't even say, oh, I got to box him out. They just kind of, I'm just going to shift a little this way and hope I get in his way. It's too obvious. It's like the fourth quarter is them telling on themselves. They're telling on themselves. They're like, oh, you can do this. It's the kid who doesn't do well in school and then all of a sudden gets a couple of A's on tests and a report to pass the class. You're like, oh wow, you studied, you applied yourself a little bit, and you did just enough at the very end to pass. Why? What can we do to get you to do this from the beginning? I hope they're not just relying on Rob. I hope they're not, because that puts too much pressure on him. And I don't mean pressure like, oh my God, can he handle the responsibility? I mean, if he's going to constantly have to be blocking shots and deterring shots, and I know that's his job, but if you just say, oh yeah, well, Rob will do it, you're asking him to do so much that you're putting him at risk of getting hurt again.
That's a lot of jumping on that knee.
It's a lot of jumping. Thank you. It's a lot of jumping. You should be sitting there going like, how do we prevent Rob from jumping so much? Yeah. I got an idea. Let's stay in front of our guy. Let's box out on the wings so he can get an easy rebound. Let's make life easier on him. They're not doing it. If I have a criticism of this team, obviously that's the one criticism everybody has is their defense. That fourth quarter defense, especially against that Thunder team, was so stifling that you say, you guys can do it. It's within you to do it. So do it.
Well, and it's funny because it's like, if you told me, if the Celtics said, listen, we know we can outscore teams for the first half of the season and we're going to fix our defense in the second half, I would be like, you know what? That's kind of fair, because under Ime Udoka, they did it the reverse way, right? Like they had a great defense and then they fixed their offense second half of the season. If that's the argument, that's fine. Like I'm sure. Willing to hear, at very least, I'm willing to hear it out. But the thing that is like just confounding is like, you said it. How many times did they get beat backdoor with the Thunder? It was just a parade along the baseline. And like And like if you get blown by, okay, maybe you got caught flat-footed, maybe you just
Happens
don't
every
have
once
it
in a
that day. It
while.
does. It happens sometimes. But if you get caught like, on a backdoor cut, you're just not paying attention. Like that's the weird one to me. That's like that doesn't have to be an effort thing. That just has to be like you're locked into what's going on. So,
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm with you 100%. I think the defense is a little bit more concerning than a lot of people. Um, I mean, I don't know. I guess I don't know where kind of the pulse of the average fan is right now, because the average fan, I think, probably looks at 11-3 and MVP candidate, and they're scoring and scoring and scoring and scoring,
Yeah.
and all those things are 100% valid. But I'm more concerned than that about this team based on the defense, because I do think that once you get to the postseason, the teams that can really shut you down are going to shut you down. Celtics showed that last year and made it to the finals, and like I just don't think they're going to score. I could be wrong. Feel free to bring this up. Karalis, feel free to play this clip if they storm to the finals, but I don't think they're going to score their way to the finals.
I don't think they're going to score their way to the finals either, because scoring inherently goes down because you're only playing good teams in the finals. You're only playing good teams. Like, we got to remember that this stretch here of, they've won 7 in a row. That's amazing. They've also beaten Detroit twice, and they've beaten OKC. And like, you're supposed to beat the teams that are in front of you, but they had in this winning streak, they beat the Bulls. They're okay. The Knicks, they're okay. Grizzlies are good. Pistons aren't. Nuggets are good. Pistons again aren't. Thunder aren't. So it's been middling to bad teams mostly in this.
And they demolished some of those teams, right?
Like, and that's exactly what you're supposed to do.
Exactly.
It's exactly what you're supposed to do. I'm not criticizing them for doing that in this winning streak. What I'm saying is, you're not playing the Detroit Pistons in the second round of the playoffs. You're not playing the Knicks in the second round of the playoffs. You're playing the Cavaliers in the second round of the playoffs. That's who you're going to play. And are you going to just say, we'll outscore the Cavs? Are you? Are you?
You haven't yet.
I mean, haven't yet. Haven't seen it yet. I mean, it's just, I'm thrilled with 11-3, just like everybody else. I'm not trying to rain on parades, but also when you see a stat like that, fourth quarter defense, and you say, I would almost rather the defense just be consistently bad across the board. And you say, okay, they have a systemic issue. Maybe Joe Mazzulla. Then the conversation becomes, what lineups do you play down the stretch? Do you maybe sit Al down the stretch because he's a little older? Do you go small, or do you go big? Do you go double big down the stretch because you want to protect the rim? Like, those are the conversations that exist if they're consistently bad throughout. They're so good in the fourth quarter that you say, damn it, it's not lineups, it's you guys. It's you. The call is coming from inside the house.
And like, here's the thing, spin zone, right? Like, devil's advocate, because I agree with everything you said, and I am concerned about the Celtics defense. The spin zone is, like I said, if they feel like they can turn it on later in the season, that fourth quarter is evidence in their favor, right? That is a legitimately mitigating circumstance if they believe that they can turn it on, if they're just trying to really fine tune and get their offense good, and then down the line they'll start playing fourth quarter defense the whole time. That is evidence in their favor. If
sure,
that's the spin zone. I think they're playing
a
risky game. It's early. I think they're playing a risky game, but it is that's the argument in their favor.
It's 14 games, and so there's a lot of time to turn things around. There is a lot of time. And look, guys like playing offense better than they like playing defense. Everybody wants to get buckets. Everybody wants to win games. But if I told you can win a game by not really trying that hard on defense, but you get to shoot 15 times from 3, and we're gonna win these games 130 to 115, what are you picking? I mean, I know what you're picking. I know what you're picking.
But I'm normal. Like, everybody would pick that.
Everybody picks that, exactly. So this is the hard thing, and so I don't know. It's not like it's a concern. It's not like it's also not such a concern because it's the third segment of an off day. right? Like, if it was that much of a concern, the whole podcast would be, this defense is horrible. What are we going to do to fix it? It's not that much of a concern. We open up the show talking about Jayson Tatum, MVP. Right. Second segment, Marcus Smart being awesome. So the good vibes all around. But just got to remind people, though, just got to put it out there. Guys, love you. Great job out there. Try harder on defense. Just can you do that more than 12 minutes? Do it for. You don't have to do it for 48 if you want. Just take the first quarter off. I'll give you that. Do it for second, third, and fourth quarter. You know, if you did it, or do it the first, second, and third quarter. Let's put it that way, and then you can set the fourth quarter.
That's right.
Do it at the beginning.
Yeah, that's the dream. Like, you do it the first, second, and third quarter, and then you only play. Oh boy, I'm so bad at math. 12, 24, 36. Yeah, you only play like 28 minutes if you
do it in the first quarter.
Yeah.
Go up 35-15.
Yeah.
And then cruise. Then do it again in the third quarter. Yeah. And then
coming out of the halftime,
You rested, come out, lay the hammer down, then go sit. Don't do it at the end when you have to expend a lot of effort and play 40 minutes. Do it at the beginning. And then you can play 28 minutes. Tom did the math for me.
You're welcome. That's why you bring me on. That's why you bring me on the biggest Celtics podcast out there, to do your math and to yell, "I'm normal."
Which we all know is not true in any way. All right, Tom, we have gone way long, so I got to kick you off the show.
Okay.
Us?
Appreciate you.
The hell you say? All right. Yep. This is a show I'm going to get in trouble for. So please like the show. Please clap. Please clap for the show. Hope you enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed making this show for you. Hope you're subscribed by this point. Hope you've loved the show enough to subscribe. If you haven't, please do. If you have, please share the podcast. Tell your friends, family, everybody that they should be listening to and watching the Locked On Celtics podcast here on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.